The Lorax by Dr. Shoes. At the far end of town, where the grickle grass grows, and the wind smells slow and sour when it blows, and no birds ever sing excepting old crows, is the street of the lifted Lorax. And deep in the grickle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today, where the Lorax once stood just as long as it could before somebody lifted the Lorax away. What was the Lorax? And why was it there? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere from the far end of town, where the grickle grass grows? The old Wansler still lives here. Ask him, he knows. You won't see the Wansler. Don't knock at his door. He stays in his lurkims on top of his store. He stays in his lurkim, cold under the floor, where he makes his own clothes out of where is that? Where he stays in his own clothes out of muffled moof, and on special dank midnights in August. He peeks out of the shutters, and sometimes he speaks and tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you, perhaps, if you're willing to pay. On the end of a rope, he lets down a tin pail, and you have to toss in 15 cents, and a nail and the shell of a great-great-great-grandfather snail. Then he pulls up the pail, makes a most careful count to see if you've paid him the proper amount. Then he hides what you paid him away in his snoovy, his street-strange hole, in his groovulous glove. Then he grunts, I will call you by whisper-ma-phone, for the secrets I tell you are for your ears alone. Slop down slops the whisper-ma-phone to your ear, and old Wansler's whispers are not very clear, since they have to come down through a snurgily hose, and he sounds as if he had smallish bees up his nose. Now I'll tell you, he says, with his teeth sounding gray, how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. It all started way back, such a long time back. Way back in the days when the grass was still green and the pond was still wet and the clouds were still clean and the song of the swoomy swans rang out in space. One morning I came to this glorious place, and I first saw the trees, the trufula trees, the bright-colored tops of the trufula trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. And under the trees I saw brown boots frisking about in their barbalut suits as they played in the shade and ate trufula fruits. From the Ripulus pond came the comfortable sound of the humming fish, humming while splashing around. But those trufula trees, all my life I've been searching for trees such as these. The touch of their tops was much softer than silk, and they had the sweet smell of fresh butterfly milk. I felt a great leaping of joy in my heart. I knew just what I'd do. I unloaded my cart. In no time at all, I had built a small shop. Then I chopped down a trufula tree with one chop. And with great skillful skill and with great speedy speed, I took the soft tuft. I knitted a need. The instant I'd finished, I heard a gazump. I looked. I saw something pop out of the stump of the tree I'd chopped down. It was sort of a man. Describe him. That's hard. I don't know if I can. He was shortish and oldish and brownish and mossy, and he spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bowsy. Mister, he said with a sawdusty sneeze, I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees have no tongues, and I'm asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs. He was very upset, and he shouted and puffed. What's the thing you've made out of my truthfully tuft? Look, Lorax, I said. There's no cause for alarm. I chopped just one tree. I am doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is this thing is a need. A need of, needs to find something that all people need. It's a shirt, it's a sock, it's a globe, it's a hat, but it has other uses. Yes, far beyond that. You can use it for carpets, for pillows, for sheets, or curtains, or covers for bicycle seats. The Lorax said, "Sir, you're crazy with greed. There's no one on earth who would buy that full need." But the very next minute, I proved he was wrong. At that minute, a chap came along, and he thought that the need I had knitted was great. He happily bought it for $3.98. I laughed at the Lorax. "You poor stupid guy, you never can tell what people will buy." "I repeat," cried the Lorax, "I speak for the trees." "I'm busy," I told him. "Shut up, if you please." I rushed across the room, and no time at all, built a radio phone. I put in a quick call. I called all my brothers and uncles and aunts, and I said, "Listen here, there's a wonderful chance for the whole all Wansler's family to get not mighty rich. Get over here fast. Take the road to North Niche, turn left at Weehawken, sharp right at Stitch." And in no time at all, in the factory I built, the whole Wansler's family was working full tilt. We were all knitting, knees just as busy as bees, for the sound of the chopping of truffle trees. Then, oh my baby, oh how my business did grow. Now chopping one tree at a time was too slow, so I quickly invented my super axe hacker, which whack off 4 truffle trees at one smucker. We were making need 4 times as fast as before, and that Lorax, he didn't show up anymore. But the next week, he knocked on my new office door. He snapped, "I'm the Lorax who speaks for the trees, which you seem to be chopping as fast as you please. But I'm also in charge of the brown barbaboots who played in the shade in their barbaboot suits and happily lived eating truffle fruits. Now, thanks to your hacking my trees to the ground, there's not enough truffle fruit to go around. And my poor bababoots are all getting the crummies because they have gas, no food in their tummies. They love living here, but I can't let them stay there. They'll have to find food, and I hope that they may. Good luck, boys," he cried, and he sent them away. I, the Wanslers, felt sad as I watched them all go, but business is business, and business must grow regardless of promise in tummies, you know. I mean no harm. I mostly truly did not, but I had to grow bigger. So bigger I got. I biggered my factory, I biggered my roads, I biggered my wagons, I biggered the loads of the need I shipped out. I was shipping them forth to the south, to the east, to the west, to the north. I went right on biggering, selling more needs. I biggered my money, which everyone needs. Then again he came back. I was fixing some pipes when the old nuisance Lorax came back with more gripes. "I am the Lorax," who coughed and he whipped. He sneezed and he snuffed, he snargled, he sniffed. "Wansler," he cried with a crofulous croak, "Wansler, you're making such smugglers smoke. My poor swami swans, why they can sing a note no one can hear who has smog in his throat. No one can sing who has smog in his throat." And so said the Lorax, "Please pardon my cough. They cannot live here, so I'm sending them off." "Where will they go?" I don't hopefully know. They may have to fly for a month or a year to escape from the smog. Give smog up around here. What's more, snap the Lorax. His dander was up. "Let me say a few words about gloopity gloop. Your machinery chugs on day and night without stops, making gloopity glop. Also skloopity skloop. And what do you do with this leftover goo? I'll show you, you dirty old Wanslers, man, you're glumping the pond where the humming fish hump. No more can they have hum, for their gills are all gummed. So I'm sending them off. Oh, their future is dreary. They'll walk on their fins and get woefully weary in search of some water that isn't so smeary." Then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at the Lorax, "Now listen here, Dad, all you do is yap, yap, and say bad, 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 bad. Well, I have my rights, sir, and I'm telling you, I intend to go on doing just what I do, and for your information, you Lorax, I'm fidgeting on biggering and biggering and biggering and biggering, turning more trufula trees into needs which everyone needs. And at that very moment, we heard a loud whack from outside in the field came a sickening smack of an axe on a tree. Then we hear the tree fall, the very last trufula tree of them all. No more trees, no more needs, no more work for to be done. So in no time, my uncles and aunts, everyone, all waved my goodbyes. They jumped into my car and drove away under smoke-smothered stars. Now all that was left beneath the bad-smelling sky was my big empty factory, the Lorax and I. The Lorax said nothing, just gave me a glance, just gave me a very sad backward glance as he lifted himself by the seat off his pants, and I'll never forget the grim look on his face when he hoisted himself and took leave of this place through a hole in the smog without leaving a trace, and all that the Lorax left here is this mess was a small pile of rocks with one word, unless. Whatever that meant, well, I just couldn't guess. That was long, long ago. But each day since that day, I've sat here and worried away. Through the years, while my buildings have fallen apart, I've worried about it with all of my heart. But now, says the Wanslers, now that you're here, the word of the Lorax seems perfectly clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. So catch the Wanslers. He let something fall. It's a trufula seed. It's the last one of all. You're in charge of the last of the trufula seeds, and trufula trees are what everyone needs. Plant a new trufula. Treat it with care. Give it clean water, and feed it fresh air. Grow a forest. Protect it from axes that hack. Then the Lorax and all of his friends may come back.